And it'll be the Irishman, Andy Quinn. And here we go. Adam Randall's going to give it a shot. Right up the middle, takes a big hit, and has dropped it to 30. 28 first quarter points last week at North Carolina. And Cade Klubnik is going to be at the controls to start this one. Late flag, though. Let's check the flag. Got a late flag that came in right at the end. Before we intro Cade, I'll introduce our referee, Justin Elliott.
After the play, there are fouls by both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct, receiving team number 35, kicking team number 28. That is both of their first unsportsmanlike conduct fouls of the game. Those penalties offset, first down.
And we will still scrimmage from the 30-yard line. Everybody loved Cade Klubnik last year. Heisman hopeful coming into this year. Didn't get off to a great start, but he certainly had a great game last weekend.
Well, that's a lot of pressure for Clubnik. You come into a team and an organization where you had Deshaun Watson, you've had Trevor Lawrence, you've fought national championships. That's pressure for any quarterback.
Clubnik to throw. Pressure picked up, gets it out to Williams, who spins, loses a defender, picks up about 4 yards. What do you make of this group of skill position players for the Tigers?
Well, Randall, contact balance and receiver skill set. Wesco can separate quickly from defensive backs. Antonio Williams finally healthy. Elite speed and a vertical threat for this Clemson ball club.
Now they'll bring Randall back into the backfield. Takes it, looking for a space to run, finds a little bit of a crease. He'll set up third down and about 2. Cedarius McConnell on the tackle. Boston College has been ravaged with injuries on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they get Quan Williams back from concussion. He's a gap run stopper. Cedarius McDonald, you know, he's a playmaker, gets good up the field penetration. And Bryce Steele, relentless high IQ player. He plays with purpose, and he'll have to make big plays for this defense tonight.
And there's Omar Thornton, who everybody was talking about after his game at Pitt last week. He is an exocet missile, 0 in red. Clemson has struggled on third down all season long. Randall picks it up here, though, crashes through the line, and they'll move the sticks.
You know, one of the things that's impressive about Randall to me, he's a former receiver, transitioned to running back, but he's a very patient back. He allows for the blocks to develop. Watch when he gets the football. He's waiting, he allows it to develop, and then he hits the hole. Kind of like Le'Veon Bell used to run the football for Pittsburgh. I like the way he runs the football.
Just a little hezzy right when he got the football, and when he found his crease. Now to Klubnik's left. Randall's a big-time pass catcher out of the backfield as well. 17 grabs on this season so far. Clubnik looking his way, finds him in the flat. Good pickup on first down. They'll mark it off at about a 5-yard clip. KP Price, who will play safety and some linebacker in this game with Bam Crouch out once again, their best linebacker. So you'll see Price, number 2 in red, move all over the field.
And that would usually be a favorable matchup for the running back against the safety, but Price is a hard-nosed safety. He's not the biggest of guys, but he doesn't mind coming downhill.
Williams on the end around, crashes into his own teammate, picks up maybe 2. Chris Maribel on the stop. And a good opportunity once again on third down for this BC defense to get off the field with Clemson at midfield. Clubnik looks to the sideline. Quickly to his tight end, Bettencourt. Makes the catch. He's right at the line to gain. I think they may mark him just shy.
And I do think this is an opportunity for Dabo and his team to kind of set the tone early and go for it on fourth down if they don't get this first down.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. It's 4th down. Please put 11:18 on the game clock. 11:18, please. Thank you.
So they were charged with a timeout. Clemson called a timeout there. Wanted to review the spot on this Benton-Kerr catch. They did review it, and it was upheld after review, so it remains 4th down as it was called on the field. 4th down and not half a yard. Tigers are 7 of 15 on the year. On
I formation, we're going to run it right at you, and we're going to test your manhood.
Woods in his part-time job as a fullback moves the sticks, and this drive for the Tigers continues. Clubnik to throw. Pressure off the edge. Gets rid of it. Trying to hit Randall out of the backfield, and he just couldn't make the catch. Well, that's what Randall gives you in terms of that dimension. He's almost 30 yards downfield.
And I think Clubnik felt the pressure from the backside. Quintavious Hutchins, he beat the left tackle. He felt that pressure, and he didn't put enough on that football. But that's a catch Randall has to make. The ball goes in through your hands. You would think he would be able to make that catch more so than other backs because of his history as a wide receiver.
Quickly out to Williams, has blockers in front of him, cuts it inside, down to the 34. Marion Davis, 27 in red, getting some run tonight, making the tackle. Tenth play of this drive has started on their own 30. Randall tried to cut back and lost his footing.
You see what Clemson's doing? They're spreading out this BC defense, trying to create opportunities for Randall to have space to operate. You want to get Randall the football in one-on-one situations against defenders. You feel like he can win that battle.
Freshman Gideon Davidson in the game now for Clemson. Clubnik fakes to him. Wesco, first catch he's made on the game. That's going to be another first down. Perfect route by Wesco, just beyond the sticks, and he came back to make the grab.
And Wesco does a good job of pulling up on that route. You see his ability to come back to the football. A lot of times you got receivers waiting. He goes back and gets that football, helps his quarterback out.
Clubnik. Now he's loose. Being tracked down, he'll be sacked. Hugh Hutchins, who missed last week's game at Pitt, back in the lineup tonight. And he gives him that special presence off the edge. Dabo's a little disappointed, but that was a great individual effort by Q.
And I think it's a good decision by Coach Sweeney to go ahead and get some points on the board. You've already gone for it on 1 4th down. This is a little bit tougher, 4th and 3. You're inside the 30-yard line. You want to get some points on the board. You want to come out of this drive with positive.
Nolan Hoosier comes in. It'll be a 46-yard attempt. Snap, hold, and kick are all perfect. Tigers continue to shine in the first quarter.
Hard and effective defense. They've got to get some sustained drives early in this football game.
Robert Gunn kicks it out of the back of the end zone. Dylan Lonergan takes the field for the Eagles. Poor week last week. They sat him down in the second half. Boston College actually got a touchdown in the final 2 minutes last week to avoid their first shutout since 2022. It was not a banner day offensively for the Eagles. But tonight is a new opportunity. Lonergan to throw on first down. Pressure all over the place, and he does just get rid of it. And it goes incomplete. TJ Parker with the pressure. But it was hard to single out any Clemson Tiger on that play. Here are the skill position players for Boston College.
With Turbo Ruchard, you've got to get him the football. Tough in between the tackles, downhill back. Lewis Bond, precise right route runner. He's your third down short receiver. And Reed Harris, elite size, zone breaker type receiver on the outside. He is a matchup nightmare for anybody with that size.
Here's Turbo. Looking to attack the middle of that Clemson defense, but Sammy Brown is having none of it. And Sammy Brown among those key players on this Clemson defense.
But Will Helt, long arms, makes it difficult for offensive tackles to get inside hands. Peter Woods, first-round talent, doubles as a lead blocker. We saw him earlier with the ball, get the first down. And TJ Parker, he can collapse the pocket with that outside pass rush.
Turbo had a hole, but it closed down quickly. Peter Woods ran for a first down on offense in Clemson's last possession, prevented a first down on defense on this one.
And one of the things that Peter Woods does an excellent job of is disengaging from blocks. He's able to engage, get inside hands, and once he sees where the ball carrier is, he's able to disengage, get those offensive linemen off of him, and make tackles.
Seamus Florio to punt it away for Boston College. End-over-end kick. Wesco calls for a fair catch and makes it at his own 33. Cade Klubnik is coming up.
I like the Dark Knight.
As far as BC goes, he's the Dark Knight right now.
Yes.
Because he's had Clemson on the move in each of their first two possessions. BC showing a little pressure. It's picked up. Now he's got one-on-one on the edge. Finds Wesco down to the 15.
And that was good coverage out there on Wesco, but you see Wesco able to turn his body around, locate the football, and put himself in between the ball and a defender, Isaiah Ferris. Ferris is covering him up. He's doing a really good job, but Ferris has to turn around and locate the football. You saw Wesco be able to turn around and locate that football.
Clubnik to throw. It's Williams again. Makes the catch for a short gain. Cade's 8 for 9 on the year, on the day, I should say. And after, again, a 22-24 performance last week. Red zone has not been a pleasant place for Clemson this season. Looking to cash in here. Williams is able to pick up 5 on first down. Randall. Oh, just got tripped up. He might have been able to find the end zone, but KP Price, you mentioned how even as a safety, he's going to come down a lot in run support. He's been playing some Mike linebacker, too.
And that's what makes him difficult as a linebacker, because he's slippery and he's got the speed to catch up and get to those backs when they get to the outside. Your typical linebacker is not going to be able to make that play. But when you've got a KP Price out there, a guy that can react like defensive backs are able to in the speed that he has, he's able to get out there and make that tackle on Randall.
3rd down and 2. Play clock inside of 5. Randall shakes off one tackler and scores. Tiger fans that have made the trip from upstate here to Boston, Mass, celebrating early. Loser for the PAT. He nails it. 6 plays, 67 yards, just over. Robert Gunn fires that right leg through. Drives it out of the back of the end zone. Coming up next on the ACC, it's the ACC Huddle Final Score crew. Going to have a complete wrap-up of our game and the whole day. Highlights, analysis, interviews, players and coaches, the whole ship. And they'll have you covered right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app. You and I were talking before we went on the air. Another crazy day. I mean, just when you think you got it all figured out, goes completely awry, and your alma mater struggling.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you know, Florida State, Penn State, some surprise shockers this afternoon.
Turbo makes the catch out of the backfield. Good pickup of about 7 on first down. And Georgia Tech got the win earlier today. Pitt suddenly is looking like a contender out of nowhere, going down to Tallahassee and beating Florida State.
But Georgia Tech keeps moving right on along, and
they have opportunities to trip up, and they don't let those opportunities bother them. Now they got a big one at Duke coming up next. Big drive here for BC, already down 10 in the first quarter. And they'll be able to move the chains. First down, and still going. Turbo Ruchard showing all kinds of heart, picking up 9 yards on that carry.
And as an offensive lineman, if that doesn't fire you up and get you going, and we talked to the coaching staff about this offensive line and the challenge that they face against this Clemson defensive front, and they were excited about the opportunity to play against these potential NFL players. And you see it on that play.
And they want to go quickly, almost intercepted. And a flag comes in late. Davion Terrell was in coverage, and it was tight coverage at that on Dawson Pugh. Maybe too tight.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And you see Lonergan, a good job of finding the matchup that was favorable to him on the outside, and that's what you want to do, and put the ball in the position where your guy can make a play on it. If you look on that play, Davion Terrell, you did go through the receiver. I don't know why you're putting your hands up in the air. It is what it is. You interfered on that play.
First time tonight, BC in Clemson territory. Ruchard has a lot of room to run, and he's got a blocker in front of him. Powers through another tackle inside the 30. Well, this is the Turbo we saw 2 weeks ago when he had a huge game on this very field against Cal.
And you see what they're doing right now. They've got the pin and pull going. They've got everybody coming down, pinning on the inside, and you've got the pull guard coming around, sealing it off for Turbo to get to the edge. A good job.
Lonergan to throw. As Ruchard can't make the catch, that's going to be an incomplete pass, and it will be. Keeping an eye on Peter Woods. He limped off under his own power on the last play before this one. So we'll have to keep an eye on 11 and white on that Clemson sideline.
And one of the things Coach O'Brien and his staff talked to us about is finding ways to get Turbo Ruchard the football, whether it be squeezing it out to him on the outside in the flat or handing it off to him out of the backfield.
Stefylen Green, heck of a player in his own right, filling in for Woods. Here's Turbo again. Lowers his shoulder. Met by Green in that Clemson defensive front. Picked up maybe a yard. There's big old 90, Stefylen Green. There's Peter Woods right now. And that's Pat Henry. That's a tight end. Peter Woods got a little bit more girth to him. It's a tight end room right there. Will Helt with the deflection. Helt has been a really great addition to this team. Everybody talks about how Dabo doesn't really use the transfer portal, and he doesn't that often, but when he does, he's got guys that make an impact, and Will Helt, the transfer from Purdue, is doing just that at that end spot.
And what makes him such a difficult block on the edge is those long arms at 6'6", 260 pounds. He's got enough girth to get that bull rush, but he's also got the length that bothers you as an offensive tackle when you get a good pass block on the edge. He can look at the quarterback, watch the quarterback size, and get those arms up.
Luca Lombardo from 45, and it's good. Good answer from Boston College. After Clemson took a 10-point lead here on their home turf, Bill O'Brien's crew marches down the field. They have to settle for 3, but they put a trifecta on the board and trail 10-3. Quinn lets it fly. And Randall will call for the fair catch. The all-new ACC PM, Monday through Thursday, from 6 to 7 Eastern. And Friday is a special 2-hour football-focused edition from 5 to 7. It's hosted by Kelsey Riggs Cuff, and it's right here on the ACC network. And, of course, on that ESPN app. You never like losing games. Like Coach Allen once said, a little bit of you dies every time you lose a game. But he kind of relishes this challenge. Clubnik to run it himself. Good pickup on first down. Slides down after a gain of 14. They'll mark it down as a 13-yard gain. It'll be a first down. But I feel like he relishes the challenge right now of what this team is going through and helping them turn things around.
Well, what he said was he had got to have conversations that he's never had to have and had the opportunity to share with his players, you know, being 1-3 at the time that he had those conversations during that bye week.
It's bad news for Boston College. That's Omar Thornton. Shaken up on the play. Clubnik was able to pull himself and extricate himself from the tackle opportunity from Thornton.
And that is not what Boston College fans want to see.
They are already so banged up on the defensive side of the football. Without Cameron Martinez, they're starting nickelback tonight. To see Thornton hop up and walk off under his own power, that's a good sign.
And coaches always talk about teachable moments, getting back to Dabo and the conversations that he had with his team during those losses and during that uncharacteristic start for this ball club with all the expectations coming into this season. It gave him an opportunity to teach these guys, and he said they listen more as opposed to before when they were just winning ball games and winning ball games and winning ball games. When you start to lose, you start to listen a little bit more.
Davidson on the pitch. Big collision. Owen McGowan, Omarion Davis combining to make the stop. Behind Adam Randall, they really like this kid Davidson, the true freshman out of Lynchburg, Virginia. We talked about how he's separated himself really now as the #2 back, and they want to feed him a little bit here as the heir apparent to the graduate student, Adam Randall.
And one of the things he did that stood out last week was he had a big blitz pickup on the Bettencourt touchdown, something you don't see young players often be able to do.
Quickly to the outside. And that's Cole Turner. Blazing speed. If it wasn't for TJ Green, he might have been off to the races. Still 20 yards.
And there's just so many weapons for this Clemson ball club. Great job by the offense blocking out on the perimeter. You've got offensive linemen. You've got receivers out there on the perimeter. A good job giving Turner the space that he needed to get up the field.
That's Ty Clemens. Boston College might have to look into the stands, into the student section, see if they could dress anybody else up, because they just don't have a lot of players with all the injuries they already have. And now Ty Clemens on that defensive front after we just saw Omar Thornton have to leave the game.
And you don't like what they're looking at right now. They're testing the stability of his knee. You hate to see that when a guy goes down.
Clemens making his way off the field. He'll be checked out by this Boston College staff. Final 15 seconds of this first quarter, counting down. Play fake. Clubnik has time. Now it runs out. Tries to loop it over to a tight end, and he's able to find his man. This time it's Olsen Pat Henry.
Beats the touchdown.
Or thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Direct hand snap to Williams, rather. He's got room to run on the right side. And a convoy with him. Down to the 14. He got injured in the second drive of the year in that LSU game. Missed a couple of games. Even his first game back wasn't 100%, but the coaching staff said, yeah, last week was really the first game he was 100%, and now you can see the value he brings to this team.
And you see the game-breaking speed to get to the outside. You also have got Randall and Bittencourt out there lead blocking for him out on the edge, and that's another thing Clemson continues to do a good job of is blocking out on the perimeter, helping your teammate out, getting your 111th done.
Pressure off the edge, picked up. Got Randall, makes one man miss. Gets inside the 10.
And this is what Clemson does. They go east to west, get the defense moving east to west, and then they hammer you, hit you down the gut with that defense with the dive plays. So I expect them eventually to hit them with a dive play as they've got this defense going east and west right now.
Second down and about 5, long 5. They can pick up a first down just inside the 5. Clubnik looking to throw. Quickly over the middle. Found Williams. They'll move the sticks. It'll be first and goal from the 1. Thornton back in the game, so that's good for BC. He and Davis combine on the stop, but now Clemson wants to go quickly. They've got Clemson on. They got Boston College on their heels. And 2 big offensive linemen as fullbacks. And Woods is going to get the carry, and he's going to walk in. They had the backfield that would make an owner of an all-you-can-eat buffet very nervous on that play.
Not fair. When you've got Braden Jacobs, 6'7", 355 pounds as one of your lead blockers, I mean, come on, what can you ask of your linebackers at that point?
Hoosier with the PAT, and Peter Woods shaken up a little bit earlier in this game. First career touchdown. All Tigers here early. Involving number 11 in that offensive plan. And you know your coaches, your teammates love it when everyone gets involved. And look at Dabo during the break with his offensive line, getting right there in the middle of the huddle.
Well, you got to get a big fella some love. They've been knocking people off the football. They've been doing their job. They've kept the quarterback upright. They've given the running back lanes to run through. And then you get your big jumbo package in there for the touchdown. I love him interacting with those offensive linemen.
Boston College, can they answer? Lonergan just 1 for 4 for 6 yards. That's going to help get it to Bond. That's something they haven't done as much in the last couple of games, especially last week. He only had 2 catches last week. A couple of weeks ago, he was the leading receiver in the nation in terms of catches per game.
But teams start the game playing you when you are as active as Bond is, and that's when other guys have to step up.
Ruchard falls forward for a couple.
And I think right now for Boston College, they need to score a touchdown on this drive. You cannot allow this game to get away from you. That's what happened last week. The game got away from them early. They've got to stay in this ball game.
Turbo's got 34 yards on 6 carries. Lonergan steps into it. Beautiful pass to Bond. Tiny little window just past the defender's outstretched hands for 17 yards.
And watch the route running up on you. See right there, he's able to find a hole and make himself a target for his quarterback. Good job.
Now he wants to move quickly. Pocket collapses. He's able to pick up what he can, and that's a couple.
And that's something the coaching staff, Will Loring and Bill O'Brien, talked about with Larnagin. When there's pressure, but there's opportunities to run the football, he has to take advantage of those opportunities. You see right there, they got pressure with the 4-man rush. He saw an opportunity to get positive yards as opposed to staying back there and taking the sack. That's what you have to do as a young quarterback.
Ruchard cuts it inside, gets down to the 30. A yard or so short of the first down. Ruchard's running with purpose, more so than we saw last week in Pittsburgh, that's for sure.
And he's also running with patience as well. He's allowing the blocks to develop before he takes that plant foot and gets north and south.
They'll run with him again. That should be enough to move the sticks, and it will be. So another good answer for Boston College in terms of a drive after a Clemson score. Can they put it in the end zone?
And watch the push by the offensive lineman, and then you see the running back put his shoulders down and fall forward. That's what you ask of your backs on short yardage plays. You know everybody's coming down in the box. We need you to fall forward.
Lonergan. Nice play to McDonald out of the backfield. Lowers his shoulder and gets down to the 12. Ronan Hannafin on the stop, but it looked like Lonergan wanted to go to the end zone. That was covered up, so he checked down.
And a good job by Lonergan. You look at all of the movement. Good job by the offensive lineman, giving him a solid pocket. And I love what McDonald does when he gets the football in his hands. He's a very physical runner.
Clemson calling a timeout. Their defensive coaches didn't like what they've seen on this drive. So Dabo calling his defense over. Want to put a stop to this Clemson drive before it's too late for this Boston College drive.
And if I'm Coach O'Brien, Will Loring, I'm telling my offense, let's continue to do what we're doing. Fire off the football, believe in the call. Running backs, follow your blocks. Offensive linemen, fire off the football with flat backs. This is your opportunity. We've practiced, we've prepared for this all week. This is the challenge that you said you wanted as an offensive lineman. Continue to accept that challenge.
Lonergan's 3 for 3 on this drive. Hit Bond a couple of times for a total of 34 yards. First down, BC can pick up a first down if they can get it inside the 2. Give to Ruchard. Exhibiting that patience you talk about. Just waiting for those blocks to develop. Jeremiah Alexander made the stop. He's able to pick up about 4.
And I like their big package. They've got 2 tights. Now they're going with more of an H-back. Well, they've got the 2 tights again now on the right side. So they're making the Clemson defenders think and try and decipher where they're going with the football.
Keeping it on the ground. Turbo tries to cut it up. That time, Clemson defense was all over it. Sammy Brown put a stop to it. No gain. 10th play of this drive. It started on their own 25.
You know, Chris, I thought that was a good opportunity right there to go with play action because they had been running the ball so effectively. You want to go with that play action on 2nd down. Now it's more of a predictable play action if they go with it on 3rd down because they're trying to either get the first down or get to the end zone.
And Dabo ran all the way down the sideline to call timeout. He did not like the way the defense was shaping up on that play.
Prior to the snap, timeout. Clemson, their 2nd.
So for the 2nd time on this drive, Dabo wants to talk things over. What do you think Boston College is doing that's kind of setting him off a little bit and wanting him to talk things over with his defense?
They're creating favorable matchups, and I think Coach Swinney understands the importance of this drive. They've been able to get the ball down the field, and I think he feels like, okay, if we can hold them to 3, then we still get a win. He doesn't want to give up a touchdown. He doesn't want to give up a first down. He knows they can also get a first down. They don't have to get to the end zone right here. So he wants to make sure he has the right play call. He has the right matchups because of the personnel that he sees that Boston College has on the football field.
3rd down and 6 from the 8-yard line. Lonergan, now play action. In all kinds of trouble, heaves it to the end zone. Flags all over the place. Hannafin was in coverage on Bond. And that pass was awfully high. It might be what the officials are talking about right now. It wasn't even catchable. And that is, I think, what Dabo is probably trying to explain to the field judge.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the defense. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 17. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense, number 5. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
First, let's see the hit on Lonergan.
And a good job by Lonergan, staying in the pocket, and you just cannot do that if you're Wade Woodaz. You cannot do that and take a hit out on the quarterback. And right here, he never turned around to locate the football. I think if he turns around to locate the football, they don't make that call.
Turbo into the end zone. You saw Dylan Lonergan having a word with Jude Bowery, his starting left tackle, captain on that offensive line. Tip of the cap to that O-line for BC on that drive.
And they did exactly what you ask of your offensive line. Fire off the football, knock defenders back, give your running backs a lane to run through. And Turbo did exactly what the coaching staff has been asking. Be Turbo.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 71. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. We'll play the try.
Yeah, I didn't see that. That was on Bowery, so that's what Lonergan's conversation was with and what it was all about.
He's an offensive lineman. We get a little chippy at times.
All right. Well, it's a good thing you had a drive like that because he just cost his team 15 yards on the kickoff. Lombardo, no problem. Look at this hole. Turbo gets the run through thanks to this Boston College offensive line.
And you see him firing off and Turbo basically going in untouched.
Welcome back to ACC Network College Football. It's presented by ServPro. 17-10 our score, 2nd quarter. Eagles have bounced back to make this a one-score game.
Go the way you want them to go. You forget. You cannot forget the success that he's had with this program and who he is.
Randall will give Clemson outstanding field position after the 15-yard penalty that was assessed on the kickoff. So Dabo and his Tigers. Dabo's making sure the official's all right. Got knocked down. Tigers will start at the 32.
And the people made a lot of his aggressive conversation with the media a couple of weeks ago when he talked about winning and talked about if you don't want me here. But hey, he's earned the right to do that because he's won a whole lot of football games.
It's been a first half of answers after BC answers. Let's see how Cade Klubnik in Clemson comes back. Now he rolls the pocket. Has Randall if he wants him. Instead he goes to Wesco downfield. He's upended, but he picks up a first down.
And a good job by Clubnik extending that play, getting on the outside, sprinting out with the football, finding his receiver down the field, and the receivers are doing a good job of coming with him. I like what Boston College is doing now. They're rushing 4. They're dropping 7 back into coverage. They see those blitz packages aren't getting to Clubnik. They want to make him beat them on the back end of that defense.
Going with 4 again here. Quickly out to Moore. He stays on his feet. Another first down.
But the same thing that plagued them last week against Pitt is plaguing them early in this football game. You've got to make those tackles. Too often, you've got guys out here, defenders, that are right there to make the tackle, but they're not getting these offensive players down.
Timeout. Boston College, their first. Please reset the game clock to 8:13. 8:13 on the game clock, please. Media timeout.
So just before the midway point of the second quarter, we'll take a quick break on the Boston College timeout. Eagles trailing by 7. First and 10 for Clemson coming out of the BC timeout. Eagles coaches drawing it up on the sideline. Clemson's up by 7. We talked about the quarterbacks at the open. And for obvious reasons, the veteran Clubnik, another just stellar start to this game like he did last week against North Carolina. Lonergan struggled last week at Pitt. He's off to a better start here tonight. 11 straight completions now for Clubnik, and this time he tucked it, and he almost was able to break free. He still was able to pick up 5 yards on first down, but he was that close to maybe taking that to the distance.
And what's impressive about those 14 completions is they're to 7 different receivers. So he's spreading the ball out. So for Boston College, you don't know who you may need to double cover because he's getting the ball all over the field.
And one of those receivers is the tight end, Olsen Pat Henry. He's in there right now. They fake it to Randall, and Clubnik is feeling it, steps into it. It's Wesco inside the 20. He'll be wrestled down at the 16. Ashton Cunningham brought him down, but it's another big play. Clemson has all kinds of chunk plays in this game of 20-plus yards. That's 24. And they want to go quickly. The give to Randall. Gets hit at the line of scrimmage, falls forward. KP Price on the tackle. He'll get 2.
And when Clubnik sees the matchup on the outside with those freshman defensive backs, Ashton Cunningham or Marion Davis, he's going to attack that.
Third possession in the red zone for Clemson in their last 4. Clubnik to throw. Go to the end zone for Wesco. Good coverage by Cunningham.
Big third down right here for Boston College.
Yeah,
they can
fans
get a
know
stop.
Fans are on their feet, giving their Eagles support. Now Clubnik looks to the sideline. Play clock inside of 5. And now they're going to call their third and final timeout of this first half.
You know, used to the time zone difference.
Yes.
Now, does Boston College bring pressure here? Or do they sit back?
Randall in motion. Clubnik. He's going to run it himself. Down to the 5. Oh, and McGowan tracked him down.
Yes.
Man, it looked like Clubnik was going to be able to make a move on the defender. Almost like he got a leg stuck in the turf.
Now, if you see what Clubnik did on that play, he spread everybody out and he saw the opening and then he went right through the middle. That's what you want to do. You want to spread the defense out. They've been going east and west. We talked about that earlier. You spread those guys out and then you attack that middle. Power it up the middle.
Being reached is under review.
They're going to review whether Clubnik was able to make it to the line to reach for the first down, which was right at the 5-yard line. Our referee, Justin Elliott, is going to talk things over with the ACC Game Day Operations Center. We're going to see if we can listen in.
Okay, so that's going to be upheld. The back of the ball should go on the 6-yard line.
Okay, so Justin, you have the ruling on the field to first down, correct?
First down, correct.
Okay, great. We have a knee down with the near handheld, and we're syncing that with the left 25. The ball is past the 6. The ruling on the field is going to be upheld. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Yes.
Ruling on the field is upheld. First down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. First down.
So you heard the replay upheld. Had to get to the 6, not the 5, and they got inside the 6. Coach O'Brien obviously concerned, trying to figure out defensively how is he going to slow down this Clemson offense. That has been a virtually unstoppable juggernaut here in the first half. First and goal here from the 6. Clubnik, pressure on the edge. He threw it to Williams after it looked like he wanted to tuck it and run. Had nowhere to go. As good as a throwaway to live for another day.
Well, what Boston College did on that play, they brought the corner blitz. Now, the back Randall picked it up, but what it did was it gave them an advantage on the edge, and so Clubnik could not get outside the pocket. He did want to run that football, but because of that blitz and Randall occupying the area where he wanted to run, he had nowhere to go.
This time, Cade cuts it back inside, and he'll score.
And this is why Clubnik is such a dangerous player from the quarterback position. He has the ability to pull up and throw the football, so you have to be wary of that if you're a back-end defender. But when you've got everybody up at the line of scrimmage trying to bring pressure and get pressure on him, and he's able to get to the outside and find the lane, there are no second-level defenders to stop him once he gets downhill.
Hoosier, no issues. Clemson has scored on all 4 possessions on the night. The latest, a 9-play, 68-yard drive that took off about 3.5 minutes. Cade Klubnik ran it in himself.
Look at all of the defenders up close to the line of scrimmage. You've got one back-end defender back there, but by the time Max Tucker can get hands on Clubnik, he's already downhill, and there's no way he's going to stop his momentum from getting to the end zone. In order for Max Tucker to have been able to make that play, he would have had to be coming downhill and have a hat on the hat. But by the time he gets over there, Clubnik has already gotten downhill, and he's going to be able to fall forward. So a good job by Clubnik, taking what the defense gives you, recognizing that if he kept that football, got around the edge, he would have one-on-one. But by the time that one-on-one action got to him, he would be where he needed to be to get the touchdown.
Look at Cade Klubnik the last 2 weeks. I mean, he needed to get well. And as Kendry told you on that bye week, like all of his teammates really, just hit the reset button, and things have been fantastic for him ever since.
Well, the Batman analogy, sometimes you just have to sit back and realize who you are and be who you are.
Now can BC answer? Turbo gets a couple on first down. Clemson has no timeouts remaining. Boston College with 2 as we tick toward 5 minutes left to go in this first half. Lonergan to throw. Clemson bringing just 4. That ball tipped in the air. He kept it down. See that one again. Looked like Lonergan was going to let it go. Just kept it himself to try to get what he could.
It almost looked like it got tipped back into his hands.
Let's see if he caught his own pass. He did. Peter Woods knocked it right back to him.
And a good job by Peter Woods. If you can't get to the quarterback, you watch his eyes. When he goes to throw, get your hand up and knock it down.
Clemson defense alert. Not letting Lonergan free. 3rd and 9. Lonergan steps into it. Bond makes the catch. And they're going to mark him beyond the sticks. First down.
And that was a big first down conversion. And Bond, once again, when you've got him, they clear it out, and then he comes under those 2 crossing routes. It allows him to find free space across the middle, and a good job by Lonergan.
Please reset the game clock to 4:25, the play clock to 40. Both will start on my signal.
But that was a huge 3rd down conversion by Boston College. You don't want to give the ball back to this hot Clemson offense, and you also want to try and get more points on the board before the half.
Bond's 3rd catch of the night, 44 yards. Again, Clemson brings 4. Lonergan over the top, has a tight end inside of Clemson's territory. That's Chudzinski.
And Chudzinski is starting to come on. Last week, 3 catches for 70 yards. This is a guy that they look to be a pass-catching tight end in this offense.
A true freshman. Looks to him again. Finds him for a short pickup of about 4 yards on first down. Maybe on Terrell in coverage. We're going to give you a comparison in the first for Boston College this week versus last week. It's an easy comparison because there was no offense last week in the first half for Boston College. So to be able to do this at home in front of your home folks here against Clemson, it's a good sign for the work that this team put in during the week.
Well, I think they've established a run more so this week than they were able to last week. Turbo's really involved in this football game, and I think that's changed what they've been able to do.
McDonald in this time, Jordan McDonald carrying. Senior out of the Atlanta area, transferred to BC from UCF.
And it was interesting when we talked to the Clemson coaching staff, that's one of the things they said. They said, we've got to stop this rushing attack. We know they didn't run the ball very effective last week, but we understand in order for them to be successful, the run sets up their pass game. It sets up their play action game. So we have to take that away from them.
Another big third down. McDonald in the backfield with Lonergan. Lonergan will throw. Bond. They are just having him come across the field from the left and the right, almost on every single passing down.
Well, they've got the matchup, the favorable matchup when they've got him in that slot position because he's such a good route runner. But you see what they're doing. They're keeping him outside. They've got the slot receiver running a post route, so that's clearing out those defenders and giving him the space that he needs.
McDonald. Tracked down from behind. Maybe picked up a yard. Cade Denhoff on the tackle. We've reached the 2-minute timeout.
That is the 2-minute timeout.
Boston College trailing by 14, but they're on the move again here in Chestnut Hill.
Eight conference games, and I think that is one of the big concerns.
Fumble. Lonergan had it knocked out of his hands, and Clemson falls on it. T.J. Parker was able to recover the fumble, and that's a big play, and Dabo knows it. Sammy Brown knocked it out of his hands to squash this Boston College rally here in the latter moments of this first half.
And it starts right here. You've got the left tackle. You've got to be able to read that. You've got inside help. You've got the end looping around the defensive player. You've got to get back outside. But also, Lonergan, you've got to recognize that they're bringing an exotic blitz package, and you've got to feel that pressure from the outside. So I think it's identifying where the pressure's coming from by the offensive line, but also the young quarterback has to be able to know if that man is not blocked, you've got to react to that. He can't. You've got to understand and look at what's going on in front of you and recognize where your blockers are. Maybe sprint to the right side of the formation, but you've got to get out of there. You can't stand there when you have someone unblocked.
Sixth takeaway of the season for Clemson. Sixth fumble lost for BC. Clubnik now back in business, and Pat Henry dropped it.
And Pat Henry tried to make a play before he had possession of the football. You've got to squeeze that football. Once you get possession of it, then you can get up the field. But you can't worry about where contact is coming from. You've got to get possession of that football first.
Remember, Clemson used all 3 of their timeouts earlier in this first half.
And that possibly was a favorable play because they're going to make the tackle and the clock would be running right here. It wouldn't have been a big gain on that play.
This one's going to be a big gain. Inside the 40, all the way down to the 37. Josh Sapp, the tight end, goes 33 yards. That's another player making his first catch of this first half for Clemson. They are spreading it around.
And missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle.
Clubnik again on play action, has time, going to Wesco in the end zone. Makes the catch. Touchdown. Great concentration by Wesco. And what an absolute dime from Clubnik.
And this is called helping your quarterback out. Watch how Wesco tracks this football and turns his body all the way around and then has the ability to get his foot down inbounds at the same time. A great job of tracking the football, knowing where the ball is, keeping the defender off of him so he can squeeze that football towards his body.
Tigers have scored at least 30 in back-to-back first halves in their last 2 games.
And how big was that fumble recovery to create the turnover when it looked like Boston College was going in to get a score before the half?
Hoosier with the PAT. Take another look at that touchdown pass. An outstanding grab from Bryant Wesco.
And you've got to love the way he just continues to concentrate on this football. Cade Klubnik puts it where only he can make a play on it. He squeezes the football. He's able to contort his body, turn around, squeeze that football, and get that foot down.
Wesco's 6th touchdown reception of the year. And there you see it, just 3 plays, 70 yards, converting the turnover to points. And for BC, they still have 1:23 on the clock with 2 timeouts.
And Clemson talked about it coming into this game. They felt like there were going to be some big play opportunities down the field.
We mentioned over 30 points in each of the last 2 first halves. In Chapel Hill last week, and then in Chestnut Hill this week.
And something that does not bode well for this Boston College offense is they've been outscored in every game that they've lost in the second half this season.
It's a Clemson team that scored only 34 first half points in their first 4 games of the year. BC opted to keep it on the ground on first down. These first couple of plays, they're trying to see what they can do, aren't they? Knowing that Clemson is out of timeouts. Now Lonergan's going to throw. Steps into it. He's able to hit his tight end, Franklin. That'll be a first down. Will temporarily stop the clock with 1 minute left to go in this first half.
For the Clemson offensive players, they've got to make sure they keep the ball high and tight because Clemson is trying to strip that ball from those BC offensive players.
That was a tight window. Lonergan almost fitted in there. It was almost picked, and it was almost a beautiful pass. K. McLeod, the linebacker, was there in coverage. It's a little bit behind his tight end, Jeremiah Franklin. Stops the clock with 51 seconds left to go. Look at this tight window here. He tries to thread this.
And I thought that was a play Franklin should have made. The ball got to him.
Lonergan. That ball looked like it was tipped. Still completed, but only about a 3-yard completion. Dawson Pugh lost his headgear. He's going to have to sit for a moment.
And one of the problems right now for Boston College is Clemson is able to get pressure with 4 pass rushers. So they've got 7 back in coverage.
The ruling on the field is a catch. Boston College has taken a timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff. That is their 2nd timeout. 30 seconds.
Pugh's helmet coming off would have resulted in a 10-second runoff. BC calls the timeout. So they have 1 remaining with 45 seconds, but most importantly, facing a 3rd and 7 here.
And Clemson's doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them. They'll give up all of the other underneath pass routes. Their assignment at this point is to make the tackle, keep everything in front of us. Don't allow anyone to get on top of us.
The completed pass is under review.
They'll review this to make sure that Pugh was able to hold on to it as he went to the ground. So again, Justin Elliott will speak with our ACC Game Day Operations Center.
Jim, it's Justin.
Okay.
I'm here. We have the ruling on the field's a completed pass.
Yeah, and we're changing that to incomplete. The ball's on the ground without control.
So
We're gonna
look at
change it to incomplete.
Yes, hold on, but show the low left end zone.
That's where we are. Low left.
Okay.
You can see
So
it
now
right
show the ball. The ball is hitting the ground.
See that?
And then we see it bouncing off the ground.
Yeah,
So based off of this, we're going to have an incomplete pass.
All right,
So-
we're going to have an incomplete pass, which means are we going to go to 3rd down?
Replay B is the same as you're looking
So
at.
we're going to come back to 3rd down, but we're going to reset the game clock to 48 seconds.
The game clock will be at 48 seconds. It'll be 3rd down. Boston College will have their 2nd timeout restored.
That's exactly right, and that's why we stopped it for it.
Yeah, we're at
All
the
right.
39-yard line position.
So you're going to see this.
39-yard. Okay, can we get a confirmation of the number of the helmet off player, though?
That was the receiver.
Yes, but... Okay. Let's see his number.
It is
88.
88.
We're going
88
to
is out.
ask Boston College coach if he wants to use the timeout to keep him in the game.
Right.
He does not. Okay. Third and 10 at the 39-yard line.
That's correct.
Position
39,
one.
Position one.
Position
Every
one.
time
And we're going to have the clock at 48 seconds.
Copy that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
After review, the pass was incomplete. Please reset the game clock to 48 seconds. It's third down. Boston College will have their second timeout restored. They have 2 remaining.
My favorite part about the whole ACC Game Day Operations Center, I don't have to explain a thing. You guys at home know everything that just happened there, and we can just move on. 3rd and 10. So BC gets the timeout back, but now they have to convert 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 7. Clemson brings pressure on the edge. Lonergan steps up, tries to get it himself, and he picks up some, but not enough. Jaheim Lawson on the tackle, and he comes up a little gimpy, 15.
And a good job by Lonergan not forcing it, not trying
4th
to
down,
force
Boston
that.
College keeping the offense on the field. Clock inside of 20. Lonergan to throw. As a man, Chudzinski just can't come up with it. Just beyond the reach of his freshman tight end, so now with 10 seconds remaining, Clemson will have the ball in BC territory. And an opportunity here for either a Hail Mary, or if you can get one quick 10 yards and out of bounds, you'll give Hoosier a chance.
12 seconds.
That was kind of a double-edged sword play. You saw Boston College trying to let some time come off the clock, but also leave themselves some time if they are able to convert that first down to try and get another play or two. They had 2 first downs in their pocket, 2 timeouts in the bank, so they felt like, okay, if we get the clock down, if we don't get the first down, we don't leave Clemson a lot of time.
Hoosier's career long is 56 yards, so he's got the leg. Clubnik here. Just throws it over the head of Wesco. Feared that if he completed it, Wesco would be tackled in the field of play, and that would be it.
Yeah, it's got to be something with the receiver going out of bounds, or it's got to be to the end zone. Anything underneath, Boston College will gladly give that up.
The game clock says 8 seconds. I thought they started with 10. Clemson will take it either way. Clubnik outside, and they're going to rule him inbounds, and that's going to end the half. Clemson coaching staff felt like he got out of bounds on his own accord. The officials say his forward progress was stopped inbounds.
Teams, please hold on your bench.
And that's going to be it. Now, they may look at this.
And you see Boston College sprinting off the field.
Dabo is incensed. He really feels like his receiver got out of bounds.
What he's looking to do is give his field goal kicker an attempt prior to the half.
The ruling on the field of the pass being caught and the half ending is under review.
So we'll get a really good explanation on this ruling from the Game Day Operations Center and our referee, Justin Elliott.
Hey, Justin,
Guys, I'm here.
what's the ruling on the field?
The ruling on the field was a catch, forward progress, and short of the line to gain.
Outstanding. So you're going to see here, we have a catch and
2-yard line, which results in a first down. Please reset the game clock to 5 seconds. The clock will start on my signal.
So Dabo was right. The forward progress got them the first down, which temporarily stops the clock. Hoosier's already out there. This is going to be a 50-yard attempt. The snap is high, but the holder got it down, and the kick is good. Great job by Clay Sweeney. As Holden Casper something as they were right there for much of that first half. And in the last few minutes, things really came undone. Kendra Douglas is down on the field.
Well, head coach Dabo Sweeney was fired up as we walked into the locker room just now. He was telling me he was just really proud of Cade Klubnik and how he was able to put that team into position to get that 50-yard field goal to go continue the lead up in the half. When I asked him what the message is going into this second half, he told me just to continue to stay focused and just keep executing. That's what he wants to see from his guys.
Thank you, Kendra. Defense for Clemson out on the field to start this second half. Empty backfield for Dylan Lonergan. Jeremiah Alexander defending on the play as, again, Chudzinski was the intended receiver. Lonergan is, much like we saw in the first half, starting the second half, having to get rid of it quickly.
And I thought he rushed that play, but it looked like there was some miscommunication right there as well. Chudzinski, you've got to look and recognize if they've got that blitz package up on the line of scrimmage, they're showing that blitz, you've got to turn around and make yourself a target early for your quarterback.
Lonergan had completed 9 in a row at one point in time in that second quarter, but now he's misfired on his last 4. Here's Turbo again getting to the second level with flags behind the play. Justin Elliott, our referee, discussing things with his crew. The flag came out about 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Didn't get a number on that, but for us, that might have been why Turbo had so much room to run. Just the second penalty of the night on BC.
And for Boston College, you get a big play, and then you get a holding penalty. You can't get out of your own way. You cannot make those errors in judgment, those errors. Coach O'Brien talked about that. Those are things that they have not been able to recover from. You have a big play, but it gets nullified because you didn't do your job.
Now Lonergan is bringing Turbo back into the backfield. Second down and 20 after the holding call. Clemson showing pressure, and they bring it. Chudzinski makes the catch. Picks up much of the yardage they lost on the holding call, but it's 3rd and long.
And one of the things we hadn't seen a lot of from Boston College is max protection. I think they need to start looking at keeping those tight ends in and helping the offensive line to give Lonergan a little bit more time to try and get the ball vertically down the football field.
Again, Clemson showing pressure. And they get to him. Jaheim Lawson. Second sack of the day for Clemson. And Lawson is a player that Clemson coaching staff was raving about as one of those that is maybe exceeding expectations at this point in time of the season.
And the pocket just collapsed on Lonergan right there. The 2 guards in the center, the interior part of that offensive line, they were not stout at the point of attack. Those interior linemen have to sit down in their hips and be stout and punch and fight at the point of attack. You cannot allow them to push you back into the quarterback's face.
Florio with the kick. Wesco coming up at his own 46. He turns the corner. Flags way behind the play. You got to check the number. As he's pushed out at the 31, it would be great field position for Clemson. But let's check the marker. Just 22 yards net on the punt. The penalty notwithstanding.
During the return, holding. Receiving team, number 1. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, the penalty is withstanding, so we're bringing it back. Tapo with a word of encouragement.
You know, and it's called a coachable moment when you're ahead. Now, if you're behind, that's a time. It's
maybe
a little bit different of a conversation, yes.
Clemson drives in that first half. Hard to argue with that. Those last two that were just 3 plays long. 10 points on those 6 plays. That was when it really put the hurting on BC. Clubnik now roll in the pocket. Try to elude a defender. He's able to fall forward for about 4 yards. Just on a simple play like that for us, he shows his athleticism out there in space.
And Favor Bate is right there. He did everything that he possibly could to prevent Clubnik from throwing the football, to prevent Clubnik from running the football. He just could not stay with him. And that's the agility that they talked about with Clubnik and his escapability.
Randall out to midfield.
And that patient running style, once again, allowing the play to develop. And it continues to remind me of what you used to see from Le'Veon Bell. Watch him. He gets the ball. He allows it, and then boom, he plants and gets going north and south.
Fresh set of downs for the Tigers right at midfield.
The ruling on the field of a first down is under review.
Well, they'll review whether Randall was able to make the yard to gain. So again, we'll check in with the ACC Game Day Operations Center as we take another look at it.
So we're looking at the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
Just
After review, the ball carrier was down short of the line to gain. It's third down at the 49.5-yard line.
So it'll be third down in less than 1. Clemson 3 for 5 on third down on the night. Randall met behind the line of scrimmage. Still fighting for yardage, but I don't think he got to the 50.
Well, good job by Boston College getting penetration in the A-gap. You saw them come downhill with the linebackers. They got penetration, and it didn't allow Randall to get moving forward.
Take another look as Dabo's keeping his offense on the field.
And I think it all started as well with Pat Henry not being able to get movement at the point of attack when he came across.
Plenty of eye candy inside of 5 minutes. Clubnik will keep it himself and will pick up the first down.
And a good job by Clemson. They go with the hard count first to see if they can get the gimme. Boston College was disciplined, didn't jump off sides. And they're able to get the first down with the QB sneak.
And we've got a player down on one knee for Boston College as the training staff comes out to take a look. It's Jason Hewlett, the linebacker. As the staff takes a look at him, we'll take a little break. 34-10, Clemson on top. The downs for Clemson at midfield. Clubnik under center. Gives it off to Randall. He leaps forward for about 5.
And Boston College trying to put more people down in the box to stop that run game. Playing man coverage on the outside, 2 deep safeties, but those safeties are shading up. As soon as they recognize the run, they're coming up close to the line of scrimmage and trying to make the play.
So you're saying at some point in time here, Clubnik's going to go up top again?
Absolutely. He's recognizing and seeing what they're giving him, I think when he sees what he likes, he's going to try and go vertical.
Quickly out to Tyler Brown. He'll pick up about 2 before KP Price brings him down. He'll bring up 3rd and short.
And I think what they're doing, they're giving him different looks every play. They don't want to give him, you know, an idea of what they're trying to do defensively. But when he recognizes that man coverage on the outside, especially when he's got Wesco on one side of the field and no safety help, he's going to go to it.
That's Moore in motion at the bottom of your screen. Clubnik looking that way. Blitz picked up initially. Wesco almost went up the ladder to bring it down, but just a little bit out of his reach.
And that was almost an opportunity for Thornton. And you saw what they did on that play. They showed no safety, no deep help, and then they dropped Thornton right before the snap of the football. And he throws that a little bit too high for Wesco. But if that was a tad bit higher, you had Thornton coming up, and that would have been an opportunity for him to get a turnover.
4th down and 3. The offense stays on the field. They've already converted 1 4th down in this drive. BC showing a little pressure, and they bring it. Clubnik has time, though. That's Williams. Another big catch for Antonio Williams, who's having his best day of the year. That's another 15 yards.
Too much time. And it's the matchup that Clubnik wanted. And when you've got that much time, you allow Williams to clear out, come all the way across the field on that crossing route. He came all the way from the other side of the formation, and they got the matchup that they wanted. They got Williams, the speedster, on the safety, Camella.
6 for 68 on the night for Williams. This could be a double pass. Williams decides just to keep it and run it himself, and he picks up good yardage before KP Price tracks him down. I was wondering what was taking him so long. He clearly didn't have the second pass open.
And Quintavious Hutchins was right there, and I think that's why he didn't have it, because watch number 15. 15 plays this smart. You see right there, he got knocked down, but it kind of put him in a position where if he tried to get that ball over to Randall, he couldn't get it there, and they had the receiver covered going down the field as well.
Gain of 6 on the run as it was a backward pass. Cade steps up. Going to the end zone, that's going to be intercepted. KP Price brings it all the way back to the 36, and a flag on the end of it. I don't know what Clubnik was looking at, but he had a receiver wide open in the end zone, and he threw it about 15 yards short of that receiver and right into the hands of KP Price.
And I thought that's where he was going with the football, because we saw him in the end zone wide open. It looked like it may have been a busted coverage.
An interception. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, intercepting team, number 0. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's a killer when you're trying to come back. Field position.
But watch on this play, and I don't think, but they just lost the receiver in the back of the end zone.
That was Randall back there.
And I don't know why Thornton decided to take an extra cheap shot right there. You've got a Clemson defender player down on the field, and he just jumps on his back. You can't do that.
Turbo tracked down from behind. He'll lose a bit on it. So that was TJ Parker. Picked up the TFL. So a little momentum here for BC. Can they take advantage of it? Now behind the chains again. 2nd down and 12. Lonergan to throw. Quickly to Bond. He gets met and eventually dropped. Bond makes the catch, and he looks up, and he's got Stephylan Green just about to level him.
And that lets you know how fast this Clemson defense is. They ran with the bubble screen, but those guys are out there almost right as the ball is getting to the receiver. The defense is able to react and be there and be on top of Bond. And Bond is speedy and very elusive, but he had no opportunity to make a play.
BC's converted on 3 of their last 4 on 3rd down, but this is 3rd down and 12. Monaghan to throw. Clemson. Now they got him. He skirted the first little bit of pressure, but he couldn't get away from Peter Woods. Will Hyde and Jaheim Lawson were also there. And look at Tom Allen, the defensive coordinator. His offense gave the ball to BC, and his defense is going to get it right back.
Well, it all starts with the left tackle, number 71, Bowery. You've got to set back 3 kick steps. You've got to keep your shoulder square to the line of scrimmage. You can't open up that outside shoulder until you get to that 3rd kick step. He gave up a short corner, allowing him to get to the quarterback.
Good kick as Williams returns this punt. Calls for a fair catch at the 43. Clemson and Cade Klubnik back out on the field when we come back. .555 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Clemson with a 34-10 lead over Boston College. 6 of those 34 points scored on this play. Tonight's good hands play. It's brought to you by Allstate.
What I love about this, he tracks the football and then he repositions his body to make sure he can squeeze the football and get that foot down. You like everything about this play, and this is why he's leading the conference in touchdowns. His ability to find the football, locate it, and get his body in a position to make that catch.
Wesco's 6th of the year. That was part of that 10-point barrage right at the end of the first half that really gave Clemson the advantage going into the break that they've been able to hold here in this 3rd quarter despite the interception on their last possession. That's the freshman, Ziamume, on the carry. Donna Kendra on the field.
Well, guys, a little bit of an injury update with linebacker Jason Hewlett. I was able to watch him. He was in the tent for quite some time, and when I went over by him, you could see he was pretty emotional and he was crying, so that is something to look out for as well. When it comes to Cade Klubnik, we saw him go out earlier too. He will be out for the rest of this game. So this defensive tackle, Cade Klubnik, this defensive squad just continues to get battled and injured, guys.
Yeah, they are really toughing it out. Clubnik with a good run. Pick up a first down into Boston College territory. They came into this game, this Boston College defense, already banged up, and they've lost a couple of players tonight.
And it seems like for every player they get back, they lose 2 players. And you hate to see that. And they've had to play a lot of young players because of that. A lot of guys where they possibly were looking to possible red shirt, they have to now play because they don't have any depth at a lot of the positions on the defensive side of the football.
The freshman, Ziamume, down to the 26. David Ziamume out of North Cobb High School in an Atlanta suburb of Ackworth, 19 yards.
And you see the speed, the ability to get to the outside. The Clemson offensive line is doing a good job of covering up those defenders. And Ziamume able to use that speed and get to the edge. One of the things that you have to look at as well, without a lot of depth, you start to get fatigue setting in for this Boston College defense.
And Ziamume is a fresh tailback, getting his first carries here in the third quarter. Now they're back with Randall in the eye. Clubnik will fake it and roll out. Looking for help and can't find any. Now he has a receiver coming back for it. Randall makes the catch. They're going to say he's out of bounds and incomplete. May have one-hopped it as well at the 10-yard line.
And a good job by Boston College getting immediate pressure on Clubnik, not allowing him to set his feet, keeping him moving in the backfield, trying to find somewhere to go at the football.
Yeah, that ball clearly hit the turf.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is under review.
And they'll review this one. And we'll get another opportunity to listen to the ACC Game Day Operations Center.
When you look at this, you're going to see replay P.
Jim,
So,
it's Justin. Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
so Justin,
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Second down.
Yeah, the ball hit the turf, so it's incomplete. Second down and 10 for Clemson. And they'll go from one freshman tailback to another in Gideon Davidson. Clubnik quickly out to Turner. He's got nowhere to go. Falls forward for a couple. BC did a nice job of stringing that one out and getting a lot of bodies in red shirts out there.
You got to love the fight from this BC defense. They continue to push through. We've talked about the injuries that they've had. We talked about the youth that they've had to put out on the football field. And they continue to compete. And that's a reflection of Coach O'Brien and his staff.
Clemson keeping fresh backs in the game as Ziamume is in there now. Clubnik to pass. Wide open. That's Williams again. Can he get to the pylon? Nope. Zero tracked down by another zero in Omar Thornton, but it'll be first and goal for the Tigers.
What was interesting about that defensive lineup, they had what looked like a cover 3 shell, 3 deep safeties, and you see them, but they don't get enough depth. It's like they come up at the snap of the football. And you give him the edge to get around and get up the field because they cleared him out. They had man coverage on the outside, but they had 3 deep safeties, so they're covering man underneath, but then they dropped and they gave him an edge to get around.
Give to Ziamume, nowhere to go. He was hit and dropped as soon as he took the handoff by Cedarius McConnell.
And a good job by McConnell and the defenders stymieing that blocking at the point of attack, not allowing the Clemson offensive line to get any movement.
Loss of 2 on the play. Second and goal now from the 9 as we've gone under 2 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Clubnik is going to run it himself. Lowers his shoulder, really takes a hit inside the 5. McGowan was the one who delivered it. And man, that is a tough ask for your quarterback right there. I mean, that is a big hit.
And his leg bent back awkward on that play.
Timeout.
I don't like the way his leg looked on that play.
We need timeout.
You're too important to your team, Clubnik, to take those type of hits.
Here's the hit inside the 5.
And I understand you're a competitor, but you've got to understand your importance to this ball club. You've got to get down. You see the way his leg bent backwards? That is what concerned me when I saw him take this contact. You're not going to run through those 2 defenders. And then you've got those headhunters coming from the backside of that defense. Omar Thornton being one of those guys. You've got to get down and protect yourself.
And on 3rd down, Aziu Mume gets stuffed. So the BC defense holds. Christopher Vizina came in on that snap for Clubnik. Now he looks to the sideline to see if they want to go for it on 4th down, and it looks like they are going to. Offense staying on the field, at least for the time being. Final minute of this 3rd quarter. Vizina to throw. Pressure off the edge. He gets rid of it, and it's intercepted. Max Tucker, bad elbow and all, is still able to squeeze it.
And I don't understand that play. I think you take the 3 points. You've got the backup quarterback in. Your star quarterback just went out with
by the defense, 1st down.
An apparent lower body injury. He's limping on the sideline. You know, you've got a momentum shift. You've got to take those 3 points right there. I mean, you see Vizina flushed out of the pocket. And when you're going to, all the defenders are coming that way as well. A good job by the defender, Max Tucker, stretching out to get that interception.
Yeah, a little desperation throw by Vizina on 4th down. New quarterback for Boston College is Shaker Reisig, who had a nice touchdown scoring drive at the helm in the final drive of the day at Pittsburgh last weekend. So the freshman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a quarterback for the Boston College Eagles. For the 2nd week in a row, Coach O'Brien hoping to light a spark under his team here in the 2nd half. Reisig hits the tight end Franklin. Hometown kid Ronan Hannafin was in coverage. And that play was doomed from the start. Reisig tried to get it to his tight end, his fellow freshman Kalen Chudzinski, but Jeremy Alexander was all over him.
And they brought more than they could block. 6 pass rushers on that play. They brought the blitz package, and they could not cover them up. And that's what you want to do when you've got a young quarterback in the ball game, somebody that hadn't played a lot tonight. He doesn't recognize and have the recognition probably that Lonergan has since he's been in the ball game and seen these blitz packages. So you want to bring unfamiliarity to him and make him think really quick.
Wesco calls for a fair catch. He gets run over. Ball's still free. And Boston College has recovered.
Now, you know, Chris, what's interesting about this play is I don't know if the Clemson ball player needed to try and make an attempt to get possession of the football because it had not hit his teammate. I don't think it hit anybody. Yeah, right here, just, well, yeah, it hit him right there, so he had to try and cover it up. But a good job by Boston College.
The kick was touched by the receiving team and recovered by the kicking team.
Number 24. It goes off of his elbow. So that made it a live ball right there.
Charlie Comello recovered for Boston College. So at the end of the day, it's 3 turnovers now against Clemson here in the second half, and that's something that is not going to make Dabo Swinney very happy as Turbo goes for 4.
And can Boston College capitalize on this turnover with a short field?
Reisig To the end zone, almost a fantastic one-handed catch by Jeremiah Franklin. Couldn't corral it, though. Wayne Woodaz in coverage. Franklin's shaken up a little bit. He's holding on to his wrist. Maybe it's a finger. Yeah, it looks like a finger. As he makes his way to the sideline. Third down and 6.
And they're showing blitz. 8 at the line of scrimmage.
Rice gets rid of it. Look out. Bond is able to make the catch. He heard those footsteps, too, by Ashton Hampton, but Bond did a nice job of hanging on, but he's shy of the first down.
And a good job by Rice to get rid of it quickly.
Yes.
They showed that 8-man front at the line of scrimmage. They dropped 3 back in the coverage, but he did a good job of getting rid of it quickly, Chris, before those dropping defenders could get into the zone to make a play on the football.
4th down. Shaker Rice has 2 backs with him in the backfield. One of them is Turbo. The other one is Lewis Bond. Now Bond will come over to the slot near side. Again, Clemson showing a lot of pressure. Rising to the end zone for Harris. And it's intercepted. Ricardo Jones in coverage makes the pick.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. First down.
And you saw what they did. Once again, they showed 8 at the line of scrimmage. So Rice thinks he has man coverage on the outside with no help from the safety.
Play was ruled an interception and a touchback, so Clemson starting from their own 20. And they'll have 2nd down from their own 20 as we have a Boston College player shaken up. It's linebacker Owen McGowan. Jason Hewlett, that linebacker, has already exited the game with an injury. And now McGowan is in some discomfort. They're already without Bam Crouch at linebacker. Bryce Steele is back this week after missing last week with a concussion. Haven't seen Zachary Thomas yet, the freshman out of Georgia, who they're excited about. We may have to see him right now. We've mentioned KP Price has come from his safety spot up to play linebacker. And Bill O'Brien talked a lot about the fact that he and his staff have a lot of NFL experience, and it's like an NFL team right now. Players, the shell game. Playing safety while you're playing linebacker this week. NFL rosters aren't big enough to have so many players at any one position. You got to play more than one position.
And the difficulty is all of the injuries seem to be happening on the defensive side of the football.
Pitch to Davidson. Looking for room to run. He gets a little bit of it. It'll bring up 3rd down and a long 1 yard. Got to get to the 30.
And the coaching staff really like Gideon Davidson. They highlighted him picking up the blitz on that touchdown to Bettencourt last week. And that's something that, you know, you have trouble with a lot of young players understanding blitz pickup. So for him to do that, he showed them that he earned the right to get on the football field and earn playing time.
Davidson is able to get the 1st down and more out to the 35. Carter Davis on the stop. It'll be interesting to see how much Clemson, if at all, if they open things up for Christopher Vizina, who took over at the quarterback spot for Cade Klubnik on the last series. There's Vizina, sophomore out of Birmingham, Alabama. 1st down. Clubnik is standing there without his helmet, but certainly doesn't seem to be distressed. Vizina's going to run it. Got a blocker in front of him. Ooh. Takes a hit himself and delivers a hit. Picks up 5. Marcus Upton on the tackle along with Price.
Good job blocking on the outside by the Clemson offensive line, getting out on the edge, giving Vizina an area to get it up the field. You want to create seams for your running and for your rushing attack, allowing those backs to plant and get north and south.
Zena again will keep it himself. This time he's in all kinds of trouble. He gets dropped by Marcus Upton once again. This time it'll be a loss of about a half yard.
That was excellent movement by the right side of that offensive line. They got movement at the point of attack. That may have been a ball that you want to get to your back and allow them to get up the field as opposed to pulling that ball out.
Good to see Owen McGowan, Boston College linebacker, back in the game. There he is. Third down and 5. Zena again going to keep it himself. And he's taking some hits. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. And Owen McGowan making the tackle. This will force the first Clemson punt of the night. Jack Smith has had one of the best seats in the house to watch this one. Now he comes in to let it fly, and Charlie Camella, who recovered a punt on special teams not long ago, sits back to return this one. Ankles and heels at his own 17. Camella calls for a fair catch, makes it at the 24. 9:35 remaining in this one. Clemson out front. He's rocking right now.
Hey, I'm just prepared, Chris. You call me the big preparation.
I mean, it's better to have more that you can shed than not have enough.
Absolutely.
And if we come back here to Chestnut Hill in November, you're going to want to pack a lot more.
I got some Connecticut blood in me as well, so I'll be ready for it.
BC moving the ball on the ground as Reisig handed it off to Turbo, and Turbo Ruchard has had a bounce-back game tonight after just a dismal game in Pittsburgh last week. So we sandwiched a couple of good performances around that Pitt game. Reisig continues to work the middle of that Clemson defense. First Boston College first down since the last minute of the second quarter.
And when you look at the score doesn't reflect, but you've got some positives if you're Boston College that you can take from this ball game. They got that rushing attack going. You said it earlier with Turbo. Good movement by the offensive line. I saw some positive things from Lonigan after that tough ball game last week at Pittsburgh.
Reisig incomplete. Chudzinski, the intended receiver. Reisig, 6 foot, 199-pound freshman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Went to Union High School. Getting some playing time in the fourth quarter for the second consecutive week. McDonald, straight up the middle, power running.
And I know we've talked about Turbo Ruchard a lot this afternoon and this evening, but Jordan McDonald, when you watch this kid on film, he is a true power runner. And I think, you know, he can add to this rushing attack. He needs to get more touches in the backfield. I think they need to have a two-headed monster, give him more opportunities. You know, I think with him and Turbo Ruchard, they can be a dynamic duo for this team as they continue to move through this season. But I want to see him get more touches.
Reisig the throw. Flushed out of the pocket, head downfield. Again, tried to hit Chudzinski. Chudzinski's had a lot of targets today. Tyler Venables in coverage prevented 85 from bringing it in. They'll bring up 3rd and 3.
You know, the thing, you know, the more they're able to run the football, Chris, the more they're able to give Lonigan an opportunity to continue to develop at the quarterback position.
Check that, 4th and 3. McDonald in motion. Motion again. Reisig to throw. Pressure on the edge. Eludes it at first and does a nice job of getting it to Bond. Well, Coach O'Brien said he put Reisig in there to see if he could run around and make plays, and that's exactly what he's doing.
And I love the way he avoided the pass rush. He didn't panic. The pocket started to collapse around him, but he was able to climb the pocket, get to the edge, and throw a strike out there to Bond to allow them to continue this drive. Again, pressure on the edge. Reisig steps up. He's got room to run. And he slides down at the 40. They'll mark him just shy of the 40-yard line. Gain of 8 for Reisig. And a good job again, climbing the pocket, not allowing the outside pressure to affect him and make him panic. Again, has all kinds of room to run, and he takes it. And he's doing a good job of avoiding contact, getting down as he gets to the defenders. I like the way he's able to feel the pressure and take what the defense gives him. Again, climbs up into the pocket. As a defender chasing him, but he picks up good yardage. Down near the 26. And what's the old saying? If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. They're going to continue to give you that, continue to take it. He might end up as Boston College's leading rusher before all is said and done tonight. Got 19 yards on 3 scrambles. Loses this football, picks it up. He's not going to get away from that rush. Jaheim Lawson again. That's sack number 2 on the night. And short corners once again by the offensive tackles. They're opening up those outside shoulders, turning those shoulders. You've got to stay square at the line of scrimmage, get 3 kick steps back, and then punch, and then you can open those shoulders and run those defenders past the quarterback level. The guards and the center have to be stout at the point of attack and sit down in their hips. You can't allow pressure to come right into the quarterback's face.
Boston College there first. Please reset the...
We're all in conference play on the season. Reisig to throw. Tried to hit Pugh, but Brandon Strozier did a nice job in coverage. Next week, Boston College has UConn right here on this very field. That game will be at noon on the ACC network. Meanwhile, Clemson starts a really big stretch. Got SMU at home at 3:30 on the ACC network. Then Duke and Florida State all at home and at Louisville. Reisig did a nice job just to hang on to that ball. So Champ Thompson came in and got the sack and the turnover on downs. I mentioned that stretch of games coming up for Clemson.
And watch how Reisig has the ball behind his back. I thought he was going to lose control of the football. He's got the ball right there holding it. He almost acted as though he was trying to give the ball to his other hand, put it behind his back. An old basketball play. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And the Clemson defenders are fired up over there about that sack.
Zena continues to work. Now we'll get an opportunity to put it up. Receiver fell down, and it was almost picked off by Max Tucker. Cole Turner was the intended receiver. He tripped coming out of his break. So his Clemson coaching staff giving Vizina a chance to put it up in the air despite being up by 24. Giving him some reps. Because they do have a starting quarterback in Cade Klubnik that he'll put his head in there, take a hit, deliver a hit. Vizina, good fake to Brown. The open field tackle from Carter Davis, but that's 13 yards downfield.
And the coaching staff from Clemson is going to have to work with Vizina to understand the importance of sliding. You're the quarterback. You are not supposed to be taking on contact like that.
Taking a cue from his starter and the veteran, Cade Klubnik. Was shaken up earlier in the game, which prompted Vizina to come in. There's Cade Klubnik. Vizina finds Tristan Smith. Price in on the tackle. Smith is actually going to lose a couple of yards on the catch. There's Klubnik's numbers on the night.
And I understand the competitive nature of Cade Klubnik. He's one of those guys that's going to give it up for his team, but he just has to continue to understand the importance of him being on the football field, and don't take on contact unless you absolutely have to.
Delay to Adams. Flag on the play. Keith Adams, a nice run. Close to the marker. They're going to mark him right at it. This may be going against Boston College, so I think that Keith Adams run's going to stand.
Offside. Defense, number 41. That penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
And good job by the Clemson offensive line on that play, selling pass. What you do on those draw plays is you do a kick step and you get your hands up as though you're getting ready to do pass pro, and then you attack those defenders.
Again, delay to Adams. Good play. Adams lowering his shoulder. Runs through contact. Marcus Upton came up to try and make the stop, and he hung on as Adams picked up an extra yard or two.
And it's all about selling that pass set on those delayed handoffs. What you're doing is you're trying to get those defenders to stand up and get into pass rush mode, which allows you as the offensive lineman to get lower and get leverage and get inside hands.
Staying with Adams on the ground. Got a block on the edge. Dropped at the 20. Clemson's gone over 200 yards rushing on the night. They've fed a lot of mouths as well. We've seen Randall, Davidson, Adams, Isaiah Mume. Zena's got involved in the second half from the quarterback spot, running the football, and Clubnik at almost 50 yards rushing himself. 2 minutes up. Almost miraculous if they want to find their way back into the ACC championship game. Adams is running hard here in the final 2 minutes. If you look at their upcoming schedule, we mentioned it, SMU at 3:30 on the ACC network next week. Duke's a big one. Florida State's struggling right now. That looked huge a couple of weeks ago, but the Noles have lost 3 in a row. And then at Louisville on the 14th.
And I think we'll find out about Louisville this upcoming week in this Miami game.
Clemson, they're second.
That's a good point.
30 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to find out about a lot of these teams here in the next couple weeks. Of course, Clemson finishes up at South Carolina. A battle for the Palmetto State every year. This year in Williams-Brice.
But when you look at the ACC right now, I think the two teams that are standing out are Georgia Tech and Miami. They're in a head-on collision, and we've seen some classic games with Georgia Tech and Miami. I mean, the game where all they had to do is take a knee, and they didn't, and Georgia Tech won that football game. And then last year, you know, Georgia Tech just, you know, straight up won the football game.
Yeah, Tech has a big one next week at Duke. They also play Pitt later on in the year, and kind of like the opposite of Florida State over the last couple of weeks. All of a sudden, now you got to look at Pitt and say, that's a legitimate tough game.
Absolutely. Pitt is going to be a problem for everyone that has to face them.
Adams. Again, tough running inside the 5.
And, you know, it makes Pitt, I think, a very dangerous opponent. They can run the football very effectively. They can throw the football very effectively. They've got a young quarterback that's getting better and better. He had his second start today, and he looked phenomenal. He ate up that Florida State defense. He did what he wanted to do. He made plays when they were in the backfield and should have made sacks. I mean, he looked like a veteran.
Yeah, Pitt's going to have a say in this thing before all is said and done. Zena's going to give it to Adams. Stretches forward to the line, won't get there. They'll mark him down at the 1. Adams powering his way into the end zone.
And the offensive line, once again, showing their ability to play with flat backs, fire off the football, and get those opponents' jersey moving backwards. That's all you ask for when you're in short yardage and goal line situations. Fire off with the flat back. Basically, play as if you're in a 4-point stance. The low man is always going to win. Watch the offensive line. You see the low man, you see all of those jerseys getting movement at the point of attack. Guys going backwards. The defender that actually got his hands on the ball carrier was 3 yards into the end zone when he touched the ball carrier. That's what you want to see, movement at the point of attack.
Clemson's outgained BC 504 yards to 214. Difficult season continues for Bill O'Brien. TJ Green watches it sail over his head. Here's what BC has coming up in the next 5 weeks. Mention that game next week at noon on the ACC network, taking on Coach Moore and UConn, which Moore always comes with a lot of fight. So that should be a good contest. Then they're at Louisville, Notre Dame on November 1st, SMU and Georgia Tech on the 15th. Man, that is brutal. Jordan McDonald, and what should be the final snap of this one? Boston College put up a fight, no give up in the Eagles, just way too much Clemson Tigers. And for the second straight week, Dabo Swinney and his crew came to play right from the jump. Great first quarters, great first halves. And it was just too much for Bill O'Brien and the BC Eagles to overcome.